My name's Joy, and I make a bunch of stuff.
I'm Jamielynn Gallagher. I am a designer, a motion graphics designer, but in my free time, I like to do anything with fiber art.
Hey, I'm Effman. I play bass in Jerry Biggs' world-famous band, and I also handle a lot of the business side and social media side of things.
I'm kind of at the point where I'm still not the most comfortable posting a lot on social media. There's a lot of pressure to have a finished thing to post.
The reality of the music industry today is that it's all based around consistent content, especially if it does cultivate some sort of success, like the consistency is required past that. That's the whole thing, is it's all about having momentum, and if you start to build up and then drop off and don't post anything, you kind of just lost all that progress.
I do post my work on social media. I'm not very good at being consistent about it. The main draw of my art that I do when it comes to quilting, fiber arts, and sewing and all kinds of junk is that it's just something for me, or it's something as a gift to a friend or something. It's anything that I want to do because I feel like it's important to me. But a lot of it kind of falls through the cracks.
I think social media has changed the way art has been distributed drastically over the last 10 years. On the one hand, it's been very empowering for artists because I think a lot of artists have seen the ability to share and sort of represent themselves. It's been very beneficial for artists to reach an audience directly in terms of selling art and in terms of reaching an audience that may not be in their local area, etc. On the other hand, it's become more complicated for artists to reach the audiences they want to reach. You know, it experienced kind of a honeymoon period, and then the corporations moved in to figure out how to profit off of it. And what happened is we're left with 2 or 3 major platforms where everyone is.
I think in general, social media really, really does feel like a Band-Aid. It feels like a really big Band-Aid in reaction to quick developing tech, and then also just lack of community.
Especially with the development of AI and all this bullshit, there's no way that this goes well for any of us.
They don't give a shit about the people that use them, especially the creatives. I don't think that the platforms necessarily care very much about those people.
But I also think at the end of the day, growth, understanding, feeling seen, understanding, is not really something you can get from social media.
I think for artists to foster a healthier experience online and reach an audience, the first thing to do is to be aware of what social media platforms already do with their own audiences in terms of, do you have to pay to get your content seen by more people, or are you paid? 2, I think knowing those social media platforms, then you can decide how much time you want to spend nurturing any one of those particular channels, because it takes time, and it might take time away from your studio practice, and it may not be necessarily connected to your studio practice. So the thing that can really send you into the void is feeling like you're promoting your work but not making work. I hope what it'll generate in terms of being disenchanted with how social media connects us to other creatives, that we just go out and connect to other creatives in our own backyard.
I really like how popular flea markets and art markets are becoming when it comes to sharing each other's art, because that's an in-person, very direct to artist way to do that. I'll walk through an art market and I'm girl, I want to throw my money at every single artist in there, because I'm this is you, this is your work, and I love that.
We always feel like we have to be on this global platform and we have to be, shouted from the highest mountain in order to be noticed, and it's not true. You can develop a career and a practice and a community within a very small radius and be happy. I try to tell that more to creatives, is that you don't have to be on the cover of Art Forum. You don't have to win a Grammy. Like, all that stuff is really just for show.
I think it's really easy to look for outside voices to be able to determine what the value of your work is. But I think value is definitely not placed in like numbers, it's not really placed in interactions, and it's definitely not placed in like what looks good to certain people. I think for me, the value of creating anything fully just comes from my ability to translate exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and like the essence of who I am as a person into what I'm making.
I really put an effort into making content that I enjoy, not just making content that I think will perform well. Coming up with video ideas, shooting skits and shooting show footage, all of that, I'm always very invested and interested in the content that I'm making, and I'm never making content from a place of where I just want numbers to happen.
I'm trying to approach posting more like just an amalgamation and a timeline of like who I am versus like, oh, this is this fully marketed, branded, like complete version of myself. I think once that is the mindset, at least once it is for me, it becomes more of a tool and less of a band-aid to be connection.
There's so many creatives out there that build a life and you've never heard of them. I think the visibility thing sometimes gets mutated into I have to be visible to everyone in order for it to matter. And I get that impulse, but there's a deep satisfaction from just having a real community, and it may only be 200 or 300 people that are aware of what you're doing, but it's something that can give you inspiration to go back in your studio and keep working and keep doing things. We're all managing various levels of socio-political, personal anxiety and fear about what's coming next, no matter what your age is. And it's happening at such a quick rate of change that it's just very hard to sink your teeth into anything. But I think that's the act of resistance, is to sink your teeth into your practice and just do what you've been called to do regardless.